Hello, welcome to your next math lesson for today. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about shapes. So after that last lesson that we had where our brains exploded, we're going to take a little bit of a step back, talk about 3D shapes or three-dimensional shapes, shapes that you can hold in your hand as opposed to flat shapes that you can smush between your hand. So we're going to need a page out of your book and some colored crayons or colored pencils or markers for what we're going to be doing on the page. So the page is 131. It's got a little red ice cream cone on it. It looks like this. It has a bunch of 3D shapes that we've talked about. And you're going to be essentially finding shapes and you're going to circle them in different colors after we talk about them. It should be a pretty quick lesson, and then I'm going to show you some examples of what the shapes are. I'm going to move you guys just a little bit closer so you can see my little desk that I've set up. And I'm going to drop the camera so that you get motion sickness about it. Okay, there you go. So there's my little desk I set up. I put some shapes on it. We're going to talk about these shapes that we've discussed before real briefly. The next lesson, we're going to talk about 3D shapes versus flat shapes. I'm going to show you some flat shapes, but for today, we're just going to revisit some of these 3D shapes. So we kind of talked about these before. I have a bunch of different shapes. This one's got a happy face on it. This is a cube. A cube has a square surface on each side. It's got a flat surface on each side, so it can stand up on its own. There it is, standing. And it's got that same surface no matter what way I turn it, except for on this side, it's got the happy face. So this is a cube. It doesn't roll when you try to roll it. It just stops right where it is. Okay? We also have our other friend, the cylinder. And the cube can also be a rectangular prism. This could be a rectangle, and that's any type of box you might have around your house. So if you have a box of cereal, it's usually a rectangular prism. Cube is a special type of rectangular prism, and that's when it has a rectangle or a square on each side, and you can set it down and it doesn't roll. Cylinders are our friends that are this shape on one side, so it goes around in a circle, but it is also flat, so that circle I can set down and it doesn't roll all over my desk. So if I even turn my desk a little bit, it's not going to roll all over the place. But the shape right here means that this particular surface is around. So this particular surface does roll. So this one will roll. If I put it on its side like this, it'll roll back and forth, but it does have this flat side that can set down and it won't move. That's the flat versus the curved side. So this one has both. It's got flat here on the bottom, but it curves around here. That's the cylinder. And this is any pop can that you have around your house. Most water bottles are a cylinder, okay? We also have our cones. These are most popular for the fact that you can eat ice cream out of them, or most of the time you do eat ice cream out of a cone. A cone's got a point. Ow! It also has a flat, round side on it. So here again, you get to see that circle shape. This particular one, I can set down and move my desk, and it won't roll all over the place because it is flat on that side, on that bottom part. But if you put it down on its side, it'll roll all over the place. It rolls in a circle because the surface of it is, if you stretched it out, close to being a circle. It's interesting. So this particular side does have a flat side on the bottom, but then it also has a curved side. And the difference for this one between this and the cylinder is that instead of another flat surface on the top, this one comes to a point. So that's how we can classify this as a cone. The last one that we talked about, again, is our old friend, the sphere. One of the most fun words to say because it's got a bunch of weird sounds, the beginning of it put all together. Sphere is anything like a ball that you have at your house. Tennis balls, basketballs, baseballs, any round kind of ball is going to be a sphere. These are classified as having no points, no edges, or infinite amount of edges, depending on which way you think about it. The mathematical community sees it as both. So this one has no flat surface. So no matter how I put it down on this desk, it'll never just stay in one spot unless the desk is perfectly smooth or it has like a dent in it. Usually these will roll all over the place because they don't have a flat surface, okay? So there's certain 3D shapes that we use that we can use to kind of build with a little bit more sturdy, I guess. So today we're talking about using shapes. So there's certain shapes that just build better, okay? These guys right here tend to build better because they have a flat surface on the bottom. So if I was gonna build a tower with these make great bases because they're more solid on the bottom. They're flat on the bottom. So if I build a tower, it'll stand up with these, okay? And I use the cylinders on the bottom because they have that flat surface that we talked about. They don't roll on this particular surface. Now, if I put them on this surface, they'd make a crummy tower because I can't make them stand up like that. I can't put these cubes on top and make them sturdy. But if I put that flat side down, then I can put the flat cubes on top and then the cones on top of that. And as long as I use those flat surfaces together, they're pretty sturdy. They're a little tower for us. If I move them too fast, they'll still topple over, but for now, they're pretty sturdy. Now, if I try to put my cubes in the middle of, or my spheres in the middle of that, so I've got my cones here, they're my solid base. I got my two little round spheres here, so I'm gonna try to put them in there and turn them into a tower, and let's just see what happens. Oh, nope, that didn't work. Oh, nope, that didn't work. Oh, nope, 3 times it didn't work. These are round all the way around, so I can't really make a tower out of these because they're not really solid. They don't stay in one place. Now this one did actually stay in one place, so now let's try to build on top of that. Nope, that didn't work. Nope, that's twice. Let's try it this way. All right. So there's just certain shapes that work better for building things. The ones that have solid flat surfaces usually work better for stacking. That's why you usually build towers with blocks that have flat surfaces on them. You can usually just build and build and build. As long as they have that flat surface, usually they'll keep going for a good long time, okay? As opposed to a round thing, you put a round thing on top of another round thing, there's no flat surfaces, they won't stick. That's why, well, you guys don't make snowmen here, so it just doesn't matter for that. But yeah, for 3D shapes, you want to have a flat surface to make sure that it actually stays up. Now, your work today is to identify, again, what these shapes are. So what I did was I wrote them up on my board for you to see. And this thing, you can just kind of take you can pause it on this screen while you're doing your work. So I wrote down the words again, and I drew pictures of it. So here's our word cone. And this is, of course, our ice cream cones. They got the point and the flat side on the bottom. Cylinders are our cans. So anything that looks like a pop can is going to be a cylinder. They're round on one side, and they are curved on the other. Or I'm sorry, round on the top. They're curved around the outside, but they are flat on the top, so they can still stand up. Cubes are anything like a box or like dice at your house. Oh, anything that's got a square around it is going to be a cube. And then spheres are your balls or round things, okay? So on your work today, on this page right here, you have to identify what shape it is and circle it in a certain color. So you're going to need 4 different colors for this. You're going to need a crayon that's yellow, blue, green, and red, okay? If you don't have those things, just pick a different type of line. Like maybe you can use your pencil that make a dotted line around some things. Work that out with whoever's helping you with the work. So the page says 131 here. It's got all these shapes. Hopefully you recognize a few of these. Some of those cones are pretty easy to recognize. You're like, I could eat ice cream out of that. So it says circle the pictures of cones in yellow. So all the cones on the page, I want you to circle with a yellow crayon. circle the pictures of cylinders in blue. So find your cylinders or things that look like pop cans and circle those in blue. Circle the pictures of cubes in green. Anything that looks like a box, anything that looks like a cube is going to be circled in green. And then anything that is a sphere, circle in red. Okay, so there's your 4 words: cones, cylinders, cubes, spheres, and here's our pictures of them again. So if you're wondering, let's see if I have a yellow. I don't have a yellow, so I'm going to use orange. But circle all your cones in yellow. Circle all your cylinders in blue. Circle all your cubes in green. And circle all your spheres in red. So there's all the different colors for all the different shapes. And if you can't tell the difference between those colors, tell your parents. You should be able to tell what the difference is between at least these 2 colors. So if you can't, say, I don't know what those 2 colors, I don't know what the difference is. Tell them. Take a picture of this work, send it back to your teachers so we know how you did on the shapes, and we'll see you next time. We're going to talk about 2D, 2-dimensional shapes and 3D shapes. See you then.